Hey YouTube, Motor Racing Network, Steve Post here with another great Diecast review show. We are so glad that you joined us, and we are catching up from the excitement of the Great American Race. The 58th running of the Daytona 500, and we have the closest finish in the history of that great race with Denny Hamlin winning by about that much over Martin Truex Jr. And that takes us to race-winning Diecast, and we have them available for pre-order. We have Denny Hamlin's Sprint Unlimited car and his Daytona 500 car. We have Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Can-Am Dual car. We have Kyle Busch's Can-Am Dual car, and we have Chase Elliott's pole-winning car for the Daytona 500 and his race winner from the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Now, this is the way this has to work. You have to pre-order. We are not going to order any extra. Now remember, on the pre-order, you pre-order it and your credit card or debit card are not billed until it ships. So when they're produced later this year, that's when your credit card or debit card will be billed. But remember, if we don't get enough pre-orders, they won't produce it. So if you want one of these Diecast cars, one of the Daytona winners or the pole winner from Chase Elliott, you have to pre-order it. They don't get enough orders, they're not going to produce the cars at Lionel. So very, very important to pre-order. We've talked about this a couple of times on the Diecast review show here, that pre-ordering is going to be the way to go in 2016, as extra cars are not going to be ordered. So pre-order, pre-order, pre-order is what we're looking for. All right, now let's talk about a new arrival that we have here, or a couple of new arrivals that we have here at PlanBSales.com, and these are a very exciting pair of cars. We have got the Superman versus Batman promo going on. This is going to happen. These cars are going to race at Auto Club Speedway later this year, which is just a few weeks out in Southern California. We have got the Jimmy Johnson Superman car in 1/24th and 1/64th scale, and these are in stock. We've got the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Batman car, 1/24th, 1/64th scale. These are in stock. They won't be in stock long, so make sure you get them ordered up today and they will ship to you, and that way you will have them. You'll actually have them, if you order now, you'll have them before the race takes place in a couple of weeks in Southern California. So very excited about this, the Superman versus Batman promotion that we have going on, and again, that race is a couple of weeks in Southern California. Now let's get to one of our favorite parts of the show, your questions. And again, these questions are right down below. You can just type in there, and maybe on a future edition of the Diecast Review Show, we'll get a chance to answer your questions. First question, and this was a number of folks that asked this question, Shell Cup Series and Matthew D. Urkele, what are your thoughts about the charter system? Great question, and there was a lot of debate down in Daytona about it, okay? Me, personally, as an individual, I am not huge on charters or franchises. I just am not. I'm more of an independent guy, so inherently, not a huge fan of that. Now, if I'm a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series team owner, I understand the importance and the value of the charter system, and really, I think the charter system is ultimately good for the sport because it does build value back into the teams. Here's where the problem I see with the charter system is, and it's one team, and one team has caused all of the scuttlebutt about this. Nothing they did, but it's the Wood Brothers racing team. I don't know how we couldn't figure to get the Wood Brothers a charter. They've been fielding cars since there was a NASCAR, so I was a little disappointed that the Wood Brothers were not able to get in on the charter. Understand, they haven't fielded full season efforts over the last 3 years, which turned out to be the parameters of the charter. So I get it, but I'm just a little disappointed that the Wood Brothers are on the outside of that looking in. I don't think we have much debate on this. If the Wood Brothers would have gotten a charter, I think that's what's causing the debate. And again, personally, not a huge fan of the charter, but understand it and think ultimately it's good for the sport, particularly good for the owners who invest millions and millions of dollars. This puts some value in what they do. Jim Bob V41, what is your favorite and most memorable moment with Barney Hall? Barney Hall was our lead broadcaster for Motor Racing Network for years and years and years. Those of you not familiar, tragically, sadly, we lost Barney back in January. Great, great guy, had a great run, lived for 83 years, and he lived a great life and a beautiful life for 83 years. Tough to pick one moment. I really think in just hanging out and telling stories and riding on planes and riding in rental cars and hanging in the MRN trailer, all of the times that Barney Hall just got telling stories. And there were stories that we could air, and there's stories that we could not air. Barney Hall was a legend. He is the voice of NASCAR. That's what Motor Racing Network, what we call ourselves, but Barney Hall is the voice of NASCAR, and just sorely, sorely missed. So really difficult to come up with one memory of Barney Hall, because every day you worked with Barney Hall created more memories. I'm a lucky guy. I've got a chance to work with a number of my mentors, and Barney Hall was one of them, and I cherish every moment that I had the chance to work with him, to travel with him, to hang out with him, to eat catfish with him down in Alabama, one of his favorite catfish joints, and just across the board, a real treat. So the answer to the question is, every moment with Barney Hall was my favorite moment. Mr. Goodluck 16. Oh yes, Mr. Goodluck 16. How do you think Tony's injury will affect his season, and do you think it will delay his retirement? Well, yeah, obviously going to delay his season, and we don't know when Tony's going to get back behind the wheel of a race car. Right now, the next time Tony sees a doctor is not until March 9th. So we won't know anything on Tony's status until at least after that. Now, what I think this means, though, is that he will race whenever he gets back in the car to the end of this year. I've heard that there is no plan for Tony Stewart to postpone or move back the retirement tour, if you will. In other words, when we race the Ford 400 at Homestead Miami Speedway, Tony Stewart's going to climb out of that car. If he ran 10 races this year, 20 races this year, or whatever number of races he ran, that is where Tony Stewart is going to hang up the goggles, if you will. So I do not believe there is any extension or plans to go into next year with Tony Stewart's retirement plan. And finally, John Moy, number 1, writes in and says, and Mr. Speed also wrote in with this one, what driver do you think will benefit from the new rules package? And that really takes us right into Atlanta Motor Speedway this coming weekend. NASCAR has initiated and instituted less downforce on the car. And if you have me name one driver I think this affects the most in the positive direction, I think it's Carl Edwards. As a matter of fact, the last time we ran this low downforce package was at Darlington for the Bojangles Southern 500, and Carl Edwards won the race. I think a move like this plays right into Carl's hands, and he is going to be one to watch. Others to watch, Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson. I think there are a couple of guys that are going to be really, really good with this low downforce package. Now, that's what I think. Someone else could jump up really, really good as well, but those are the ones that I've kind of heard in the garage area that this new low downforce package is going to affect, and I really believe, particularly Carl Edwards, this is going to be a great thing for him. And that gives us a chance to talk about this weekend's race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. NASCAR's Cup Series. This goes all the way back before Winston Cup even, has raced at Atlanta Motor Speedway 108 times. The first race was back in 1960. Glenn Fireball Roberts picked up the win, and he won just over $10,000. Of active drivers at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Jimmy Johnson leads all active drivers with 4 wins. 3-time race winners at Atlanta are Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, and Casey Kane. Kyle Busch is the lone 2 race winners down at Atlanta, and 1 race lone race winners, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., those among the active drivers. Mention Jimmy Johnson. By the way, we have that race-winning diecast from last year of Jimmy Johnson from Atlanta available now at a deep discounted price. It is a great price, and what you need to do on all of these diecasts, whether it's pre-ordering the Daytona stuff or the Jimmy Johnson Atlanta win car, type in the driver and the name of the race. Type in Chase Elliott Daytona, you're going to find it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Daytona, you're going to find a bunch of stuff because we've got some inventory from past success at Daytona International Raceway. On this Atlanta one, Jimmy Johnson, Atlanta, and you will find last year's race-winning car. Again, I cannot stress enough the importance of pre-ordering this diecast. We are not going to order extra in most cases, and so we're going to order exactly what is pre-ordered, and that way you get your name on your favorite diecast car. Remember, all of that favorite diecast is available at planbsales.com. Go shopping on there. If you like older diecasts, we've got some great deals on some older diecasts that we have in stock, and some really great bargains available for you as well. So just go on there and play around. Type into that search window your favorite driver, and you'll be amazed at what you see at planbsales.com. We love that you guys are getting involved with us here on YouTube. We have the comments below. Feel free to mention your comments here. Follow us on Twitter at Plan B Sales, and we'll keep you informed on what we have And please get some back and forth conversation going, because we love talking racing and love talking with you race fans out there, and we appreciate the business you do give us.